everywhere else is being destroyed, you know. And there will come a time when we sort of say, well, we've kind of killed a lot of what Earth provided us, you know. We're trying to bring it back, you know. And I just feel that maybe people look at us and say, well, that's a good example of bringing back something that should be there to enjoy. My name is Khalid Undre. I own this farm. I started a project called the Wild Green Project 13 years ago now. It's developed quite a bit. We've done a lot of work and hope you get to see it one day. We're trying to create a wild green forest that will sustain itself using permaculture, which is like a study of nature, because you don't have to look far to find out how nature survives. It's been doing it for millions of years, and this is an example of what nature does. Yeah. It's coming up to the end of the season. But at the start, it's just full. I mean, there's still lots here.
Ooh, this one's a really pretty one. Ooh, that tastes so nice.
So we're now opening up a hive just to see how they're doing.
Bismillah. You see, that is the population of the hive drop. Before it used to be bigger, but now because of this time of the year, it's dropped a bit.
That's the wax that they make.
So this is the propolis. This is one of the products bees produce. It's like natural antibiotic.
You see where it's shiny, that's fresh honey that's come in. And they put that honey into those.
And if you come closer here, you can see the pollen. See? That's the pollen you've seen in the jar. Okay, so they bring it here, they mix it with honey, and they feed it to the larvae. Their larvae. Okay, so here as Khalid said, this is the fresh honey, this is the combed honey. Now we're looking for frame where it has the broods or the eggs. Here it is. Here's the queen. Here. Did you see it?
Looks bigger than the rest.
This is the larvae.
What you see white is the eggs.
Those larvae, those white. Eggs are inside. When you look closer here, inside, you'll see it's like shiny. That means this is the larvae or the egg with the royal jelly.
New bees. Yeah, see one of them's hatching, look.
Yeah, this one is hatching.
Can you see it just come out now? That's literally just hatched.
They do nursing, they get strength, and then they teach them how to fly, and then fly. So the missions for the bees, they divide the missions. So it depends on the age of the bee.
So we wanted a natural pollinator for our crop, and if you have good bee colonies, then you have good amount of crops coming from your plants. So they were all part of the food forest that we wanted to create. It started off as we'll have a few beehives to help pollinate the plants, and then ended up being a hobby, and now it's an obsession.
So you would say you're obsessed with this now?
It is a bit. I was only going to have 6 beehives, and now I think we've got 360.
Yep.
I think with anything, you know, respect nature, respect other animals, learn about it, you know, take precautions, and kind of, you know, teach yourself a little bit about how bees live and what they do and the function they do. And then when you go, and you know, you'll have a bit more respect for the beehives. You know, you'll open it realizing you're opening someone's house. You know, you'll take a little bit more care, and they will see that, and they won't get agitated. And some of the things you can take away is how they act as a team. They all have their roles. At sunrise, they know it's time to get out and do some work, and they get out and start foraging. You know, I remember those happy childhood days when I'd go and spend my summer holidays, you know, with my granddad, who was a farmer, you know, owned a lot of land, and I'd follow him around everywhere, and I loved the farm animals, and I loved, you know, the nature and the environment, and I wish I was as lucky as him, you know. And but you know, you grow up in London, you get busy doing other things, and then I had an opportunity to buy some land, and I thought, you know, I'm gonna buy it and do something with it that will be here for longer than I am, you know, and it'll stay beyond my time on earth. So what we do is we get local tree surgeons to come and drop logs that they've cut from trees around the area, and then they drop it off here. We pile them up, create a mound, and then we cover them with soil and let the natural process of all this wood turn into soil. So but what it does, it'll give nutrition slowly for 40 years. So when you have these logs, they'll retain water because they're like a sponge. They'll soak in the water when it's raining, and then it'll release it slowly, and it'll always kind of keep this area green. And then whatever you grow on it grows so much better, because these logs are full of nutrition that they've taken from the soil for hundreds of years. So basically what will happen is, you know, you'll have a tree. It could be a nice, healthy, strong tree, but you'll see another smaller trees coming up, and it'll realize that there isn't enough room for the new trees to take up because the space is limited. So what it'll do is it will die to give the smaller trees a chance to survive and take its place, you know, and sort of say, I've had my time, right? So I'm going to die, and then the tree then, you know, stands dead for a few years. All that nectar goes back into the soil, and then it'll fall over when there's a bit of a gust of wind, and then that space will get taken over by the new trees. It is nature's way, right, of surviving and sustaining itself, and it's done that for millions of years. So it kind of knows how to do it better than we do. We just got to leave it alone. This was the first pond that we put in. It was put in about 8 years ago. So we buried all the logs and covered it up. And now you can see what's growing on it. It's growing really well. And you can see the size of the plants. And even the berry bushes, they're much taller, they've got more fruit on it because the soil is so nice. So you see this, logs, tons of it, and everything's growing mental. Nothing, and then there's another line of logs. This had those logs piled up about 5 years ago. So they started off with just a flat, boring bit of land, right? And we put tons and tons of logs along there to create what is classed as a hugel culture bed. And then once we've piled them high, we've covered them with soil and let the logs rot a little, right? And once they've rotted, then you see what grows on it. We haven't planted any of that. Where do you get a place like this? It's great, isn't it? Everywhere else is being destroyed. You know. And there will come a time when we sort of say, well, we've kind of killed a lot of what Earth provided us. Yeah, I want people to come and enjoy it. I want people to come and forage, plant a tree, you know, use the compost toilet, you know, camp out, you know, on the fields, you know, have a picnic, you know, just enjoy a bit of nature that is slowly disappearing.
Salam guys, this is Jessica from TMV. Thank you so much for watching this video. This video was supported and sponsored by Islamic Relief. They're one of the largest charity organizations in the world and have helped the lives of over 120 million people worldwide. They have numerous campaigns, including ones that are related to climate change and protecting our environment, something that Khalid is so passionate about. So thank you so much for watching again, and let us know what you thought about in the comments.